me introduce myself. I am Mesret Teklamariam Zemet Kun, who knows the late Getahun Demise for a very long time. When I first met him, when I started working for the Geological Survey of Ethiopia in 1980s. At that time, Getahun was the manager of Ethiopian Geothermal Exploration Project. Today, I stand here to moderate his virtual memorial service of Gash Getahun, who was my mentor, coach, senior colleague, and a friend. It is really my honor and privilege to be here with you today and moderate this virtual memorial service together with my colleague, Iyo Bishwaran, who has been also with me in the Geological Survey of Ethiopia. On behalf of the organizing team, I welcome you all to this virtual memorial service of our friend and hero, and kindly accept our gratitude and really appreciation for joining us in this important loving memory and celebration of the life of Gash Getahun, who passed away on 16th of March 2023 after being treated from his illness for a few weeks and months. Before we start this event, kindly allow me to walk through the program of this virtual memorial service. And actually, as you have seen or you have already received the program from my colleague Ryan, we'll start this service actually by a prayer that will be facilitated by Cassis Henok Yigazu. And then there will be a brief welcome remarks by the president of the Africa Geothermal Association, Dr. Peter Omenda, and we'll play a very short video in loving memory of Gash Getahun. Then immediately after that, we'll have eulogy and tributes from family, a close family, a younger sister of Gash Getahun, and a family member of the Dagmawi. And then we will hear briefly a eulogy from his close friend from the university, Addis Ababa University, Atomola Belaina. He will just share his tributes. After that, as you know, Getahun was not only for Ethiopia. He has a tremendous participation, particularly in geoscience field. And you know that he has a vast knowledge and experience. So his colleagues representing globally from USA, now based in Denmark, most of you, all geothermal scientists, you know him, Dr. Gordon Blomqvist here with us. And then from New Zealand, another continent, Gordon Blomqvist, the Hagen Hall, though he's not able to be present with us, he sent his actually tribute message to be read by by us. And then we'll go to another continent from Iceland. We have Dr. Knútur Arnarsson, who has spent most of his time while he was in Africa with Getahun. And then we go to Europe, Italy, from representative from Electroconsult, from Riccardo Balsotti, and France, Jacques Varret, who has been a very good friend of Getahun when he was very young at the age of 20, so he will share with us. After that, we'll go to another chapter. Getahun, he is loved by his colleagues and also teams and friends from Ethiopia. We have Professor Getahun Yirgu and Dr. Tarek Tadesse, Dr. Brahanu Gizau, and Solomon Kabede will share with us actually their memories of Getahun, how he was. As you know, Getahun, he was actually contributed significantly to the region, particularly to the East Africa Rift System. So there, in the African Union Commission, so there are former AU colleagues, they want to really just pay their tribute message with us. And from East Africa representative, Tanzania, From West Africa, Nigeria, Prof. Mohammed, and South Africa, Prof. Bisrat. Most of them, you know them, they are there. And all of you know that from ARJO member countries, actually, Getahun was instrumental, a game changer for the ARJO project to be successful. So the representative from countries, they will just share with us. We cannot leave behind those organizations. Actually, when we talk about African Geothermal Association, Kenyan Energy Electricity Company, the Tanzanian Geothermal Development Company, the Geothermal Development Company, and above all, we have actually the national-based geothermal associations like Ethiopian Geothermal Association, which will be represented by Solomon Kabeda, and here the Geothermal Association of Kenya by Mr. Paul Ngungi, and the Geothermal Development Company as well. Actually, the geothermals, the Geological Survey of Ethiopia will be represented by former Mr. Hunde Malka. That will be actually paying tributes, and then the Africa Geothermal Association, in the honor of this memorial service, will have an announcement, and we will have vote of thanks by family and organizing committee, and then we will just have the vote of thanks, and we'll just close by a video. So I just walked through that, and I'm sure most of the representatives who are paying tributes for Gash Getahun are here. If not, I think we will just continue. Actually, for the sake of time, we'll just use 2 solid hours. Please try to be as concise as possible, at least, just to really give a chance to those even who are not listed here. Having said this, I will check now if actually to open our, actually the master of this services by opening prayer. Please allow me if Cassis Henoki Gezu here with us. Thank you. Over to you. Hello?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። በቅድስት ሥላሴ ዘአምን ወትማፀነ ክህደከ ሰይጣን በቅድመ ሳቲሜ ቅድስት ቤተ ክርስቲያን እንተ ይእቲ ስምዐ ማርያም ጽዮን ለዓለመ ዓለም። አቤቱ የሥራው ጌታ ቅዱስ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ቸርነትን ምሕረትን ስላበዛልን እናመሰግናለን። ኦግዚኦ አይርፍ ለነፍሰ ገብርከ ኪዳነ ማርያም መሐራ እግዚኦ ተሳላ ለነፍሰ ገብርከ ኪዳነ ማርያም መሐራ እግዚኦ ወተሳላ ለነፍሰ ገብርከ ኪዳነ ማርያም። የኪዳነ ማርያምን ነፍስ በአብርሃም በይስሐቅ ቦታ ላይ እንድታሳርፍልን እረፍተ ነፍስ እንድትሰጥልን ቅዱስ አምላክ ሆይ ይህን ፕሮግራም ያዘጋጁትን ልጆችን ሁሉ በቸርነትህ በምሕረትህ ባርክልን። ሰላሙን በረከቱን ጤንነቱ ሁሉ ለልጆች አድልልን። ሀገራችን ኢትዮጵያንም ወገኖቻችን ሁሉ ሴቶችንም ወንዶች ሁሉ ጠብቅልን። የሞቱትን ነፍሳተ ሙታን ሁሉ እንድትምርልን እንለምንሃለን። አቡነ ዘበሰማያት
አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you very much. እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን፣ እናመሰግናለን ቀሲስ። አሁንም ከዚህ በኋላ ይዘጉልናል መጨረሻ ላይ። We really thank Qasis Henok for really just giving his blessings to this memorial service. Now, I just give the floor to Dr. Peter Omenda to provide his welcome remarks, briefly representing the Africa Geothermal Association. Over to you, Dr. Omenda.
Thank you very much, Meseret. On behalf of the African Geothermal Association, I welcome you all to this service for Mr. Getahun'S, who was one of the pioneers of geothermal resources exploration and development in Africa. As the African Geothermal Association, we mourn with the family. The African geothermal community has lost a champion, a teacher, and a mentor to many. For over 50 years, Getahun dedicated his life to the development of geothermal energy resources, not only in Ethiopia, but in many countries in Eastern Africa. I would describe him as a walking encyclopedia of geological setup of Africa and the geothermal resources that reside in it. Whenever you met Getahun study discussions on geology, he would brighten up and have a full discussion with you on how he sees the continent and how he sees the geothermal resources potential that exists therein. So he always carried his maps and notebooks and he never shied from discussions as necessary. And therefore, as an association, we know that he mentored very many people, the current crop of geoscientists, and for which we will forever be grateful. We therefore urge young scientists to follow in his footsteps and commit to the development of geothermal resources for which Getahun really dedicated his life to. We therefore felt that it is befitting to hold this celebration of his life to remind all of us about his contribution to Africa's search for geothermal resources. And we once again, as an association, pass our condolences to the family and friends of Getahun. An association, we will be discussing on ways to immortalize his contribution to Africa's geothermal development. We therefore welcome your participation. We welcome your tribute at this solemn occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omenda. Now, actually, just we will play a very short video in loving memory of our hero, brother, colleague, coach, and mentor. Thank you very much. Ryan, over to you. Dear participants, kindly just put off your video, please.
That is fairer than day, and by faith we can see it afar, for the Father waits over the way to prepare us a dwelling place there, in the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore, in the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall sing on that beautiful shore the melodious songs of the blessed, and our spirits shall soar shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Thank you so much. I think all of you, maybe when you see this video, you can see the kind of person Getahun was, and he was a dynamic, strong, persuasive, hardworking, and limitless, who enthused us a lot and inspired us to reach all of us to the level where we are. We cannot limit it with this. And thank you very much for all of you who has contributed a lot on this. Now, I think this is the opening session, and now we will go to eulogy and the tributes. Now I give the floor to my colleague Eob to really moderate the second part of the session. Thank you. Over to you, dear Eob. You are muted, Eob. You are muted.
Sorry
Eob,
about that.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be part of this celebration. I wish we had done a Lifetime Achievement Award while Getahun was still alive. However, that's impossible now, but we'll celebrate his life. With that in mind, his families and friends will speak. I would invite Ms. Demsey, his younger sister, to come to the floor and say a few words. Ms. Waziro Misrak, please come on board. Waziro Misrak. Okay, in order to keep going, we'll bring her on board once she's online. But let's have Ato Dagmari Shiburu come on board and speak. Ato Dagmari. Hello, Ato Dagmari. I don't see him. So let's proceed with Ato Morla Balaina, his childhood friend from early college days and colleague throughout both their careers at the Ministry of Mines. So Mr. Morla Balaina, it's good to greet you. Please come on board.
Well, thank you. Participate in the memory of our friend and colleague Getahun'S. Getahun'S, I was my classmate in university. Although we had been neighbors when we grew up as a child, but I didn't know him then. But in the university, we were very intimate because we're only 3 students, but had 6 teachers. We're rather lucky. Of course, those were the days when student arrest was rampant and university sometimes closed, and we had to be waiting for the next thing. Like that, it went on. We had for our Getahun, I remember one day we came in the morning to take our exam, and he was standing leaning to a pillar, and when we wanted to greet him, he said, "Please don't touch me. You will check what I have studied." He was of course joking. Then we get scared, thinking that we have not studied enough. He would smile at us. He was a very interesting guy, but at the same time very responsible and serious. So we went on and graduated in 1960 Ethiopian calendar from the university. There is an 8 years difference from the European calendar. It could be 1968 that we graduated. Then we separated and went on our own ways. He went on to the Ministry of Mines, and I went to Ethiopian Electric Light and Power Authority. Of course, before that, I just want to say 1960 Ethiopian calendar, that's about 55 years ago. It's a very long time, and some of you here, especially Ethiopian geologists, might not be born then. So you could consider Getahun and me as Precambrian geologists. So he was employed in the Ministry of Mines and Energy. I was employed in the ELPA. And you could wonder why I went to ELPA, but I was working as an engineering geologist on dam sites while of hydroelectric projects, while Getahun was lucky. He went into geothermal immediately, because at that time there was what they call the oil embargo, and the world was short of energy, and there were funds to develop geothermal energy. So there was a UN project in the Ministry of Mines worked very dedicated, sometimes at the expense of his family. And of course, I also joined Getahun in 1979 European calendar to work in the geothermal project. We worked in the Tendaho geothermal project and Aluto Langano geothermal project, and also in Abaya and Kurbeti geothermal projects. I could remember when we were doing mapping, it was rather difficult in some geothermal areas like Tendaho, where the temperatures were very hot, reaching 45 degrees centigrade, and there were storms, very, very large storms. Anyhow, we passed those times, and thirst, and also sometimes we don't come back to the camp early. There was at this point I want to pay tribute to Paulus Tesfagergis and Tesfaye Teklamahariam, who had also been dedicated geothermal geologists. Now we had a lot of geologists and chemists, geophysicists, and other geoscientists, including engineers, but I could not name all of them here because of time. But I just want to mention that some of these experts, geothermal experts, like Dr. Masai, like Dr. Teklo Hadgu, had been now employed in the UN and other international organizations. you could say that these are the fruits of Getahun'S. So finally, we did find a geothermal field, productive one in Aluto Langano. We had 8 wells drilled, but out of the 8 wells, we had 3 wells that were productive with temperatures in excess of 350 degrees centigrade. And that, and there was made also a pre-feasibility study that showed that this could support 50 megawatt electrical energy. Well, after that, the funds rather finished. And of course, geothermal was going on, mapping was going on and off with funds from the Ministry of Mines and Energy and the Geological Survey. So after that, in 1982, I think, Getahun was promoted to become head of the Geological Survey. He was the director from 1982 onwards. And I think I will stop here and others will take over in his later life and career. End up by saying,
Thank you very much, Ato Molla, for that.
okay, I have finished.
Yeah, thank you very much for that childhood story and a glimpse of Ato Getahun. Thank you so much. Let me give a chance if Wezaro Misrak is on or Ato Shiburu. Let me give them a chance. If they're on, please come on board.
Yeah, Eob, I just spoke with Wezaro Misrak and Dagmawi. They have a problem of network. They will let us know once they have solved this problem. Kindly proceed with the rest of other programs. Thanks.
Okay, so Masarat, please go ahead and introduce the global representatives listed here.
Okay, you want me to go ahead with that?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and apologies, Getahun'S family, his sister and his nephew. They're having difficulty of the network problem, and they will join us as soon as they have solved the problem. I request Ryan kindly to be close to them and if they have any problem. Now, distinguished participants, now we will go to the different part of the global representatives, which I introduced. Now we start with the representative from the United States of America, based in Denmark, who's a good friend of all ours. And Dr. Gordon Blomqvist, please, over to you, Gordon, and welcome. We thank you very much for joining us at this important event. Over to you, dear.
Thank you, Meseret. It's wonderful to be here, and it's wonderful to be able to take part in the celebration of the life of Ato Getahun. He was a great person, and he was a pioneer in the development of geothermal, not only in Ethiopia, but actually in Africa and internationally. He was actually fairly small in stature, but he was actually a giant in the industry. And I can't emphasize that enough, that he was actually someone who everyone looked up to and was just a major participant in everything that he touched. His research and resulting publications on the occurrences of hydrothermal features and heating mechanisms, as well as that on tectonics and magnetic development, are monumental and have to be remembered by everyone. I mean, this is something that actually has played a role not only in Ethiopia and Africa, but actually something that actually we all look at on the international scale. I first had the opportunity to work with Ato Getahun.
Kindly, dear participants, please, from the family of Abi Hunayna, could you please mute yourself, please? Thank you very much.
Mute.
Thanks.
In fact,
Kindly mute.
Masarat, ask Ryan to mute everyone except the speaker.
Thank you very much. Will do. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Meseret. I first had the opportunity to work with Getahun when he and I were asked by the AUC and Meseret to organize a geothermal workshop that was held in Rwanda in 2010. I was immediately impressed with his intellect and his enthusiasm. It was amazing. And though I'm not someone who would shy away from most assignments, I have to admit that I was actually had to run in order to keep up with him, both mentally and physically. He was actually an amazing person to be associated with and to work with. Later on, we had the good opportunity to work together when we were debating the need for a code of practice for geothermal drilling in Africa. And we had meetings in both Uganda and in Kenya. And that resulted in the completion and acceptance of the African Union Code of Practice for Geothermal Drilling. I think a huge contribution to geothermal in Africa, and something that is not only appropriate for Africa, but it can be actually used in many, many places of the world, especially in developing countries that don't have the opportunity to have such a code. In conclusion, I know that Getahun will be terribly missed by everyone in Ethiopia. He'll be missed by colleagues around the world. But more than being missed, he will actually be remembered not only as the father of geothermal in Ethiopia, but actually as one of the outstanding geothermalists who actually have worked internationally. And I am so pleased to have this opportunity to have spoken about him and to take part in this wonderful, wonderful celebration of his life. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much, Gordon, for really witnessing Getahun as a friend, as a scientist, and particularly in our region, who has significantly contributed to the geology and also the findings of these geothermal resources. And Gordon, you remember that he is also the main contributor of the African Union Commission Geothermal Risk Mitigation Facility, where you were there also to really just start in 2010. So
Yeah.
the $150 million project, which is now being given to all private and public entities, is also the seed of Getahun, who recently also later on joined African Union Commission. Thanks, Gordon, for being there for us.
It has been a wonderful, wonderful run. And, I've worked now in Africa for over 20 years, and it is my second home, and Ethiopia is very, very dear to my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gordon. Now, I think we go to another continent, to New Zealand. And I think most of you who were in geothermal project, you know him, Hagen Hall. And he sent his best regard to all of you, Hagen. But he requested me just to read his tribute message, and with really a great honor and privilege. Hagen just saying that he said, I was most fortunate and privileged to be welcomed to Ethiopia in early 80s by Getahun to my role as UNTDC technical advisor, and to work closely with him establishing the Aluto Langano geothermal exploration project. Hagen said, in February 1980, Getahun traveled to New Zealand and completed the New Zealand Geothermal Institute Postgraduate Diploma of Geothermal Energy course. And on his return, he worked tirelessly with me for the following 2 years, pulling together all of the components of this Aluto Langano project. It was on his initiative that many of the project's scientists and engineers attended and completed this diploma course. Getahun was a truly inspiring person with an extremely broad technical capability and compassionate nature. He was able to reach out and provide informed leadership to all the personnel required in the structure of the project. And Hagen said, this wonderful ability was well recognized within then the Ministry of Mines, Energy, and Resources, and Getahun was promoted to head the Geological Survey Group, which included the Aluto Langano geothermal project. While we saw less of Getahun at that time during the 5-year period of the project, he was always there and ready to provide and share his wisdom and advice. Getahun will be missed dearly by all. Hagen Ho. Thank you very much, Hagen, for being here with us. And most of us, when we joined the geothermal exploration project, Hagen was there with Getahun as a technical advisor, and he's there. All of us, we remember him. Thank you very much. Now we go to another continent, to Iceland, and most of the ARJO member countries, you know him very well, and we consider him also as an African. Dr. Knútur Arnason from Iceland GeoSurvey, he is here with us today. Knútur, over to you, and many thanks for being here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mesheret, and thank you for this initiative to remember Getahun. Getahun was a remarkable person. I got involved in geothermal.
Excuse me, Knútur, we cannot see maybe your image. Are you your camera is on? Sorry.
Yes, it's on.
Yeah, but we cannot see. Maybe is it me or I think, dear participants, can you see the image of Mr. Knútur, Dr. Knútur?
No, I think he has to.
No, really, maybe the camera is somehow shaded by something.
Oh, well, maybe. Okay, well.
Don't worry.
I'm not
proceed.
that a pleasant sight anyway, so.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, I got involved in geothermal in Africa in the late 90s. And that was actually in Djibouti. And then I started teaching at the short courses of the geothermal training program in Iceland, in Kenya, and then later got involved in geothermal in Kenya. But I think it was at a conference in Nairobi that I first met Getahun. And I think at that conference came up this idea of the ARGEO project, African Rift Geothermal Development Facility. And I remember the enthusiasm at that meeting, and Getahun, he was so enthusiastic and he was so full of ideas. And he was also a fountain of knowledge of geology and geothermal in East Africa. And he was very willing, or more than willing, to share his knowledge. And I can truly say that a lot of what I know about African geology and geothermal in Africa, I learned from Getahun. And always, if I was thinking of something, some project or something, if I had the chance, I consulted Getahun, and he would always come up with constructive ideas and suggestions. And most of all, he was a very pleasant person, and he has this very delicate sense of humor too. And we enjoyed making sort of silly jokes amongst us. But I think Getahun will, like many people have said, Getahun will be remembered for decades for his contribution to geology and geothermal in East Africa. And he will be greatly missed. But I hope and think there are many capable people that will follow in his steps and keep up his enthusiasm and drive geothermal in East Africa to a climax, because that is more needed now than ever. So thank you very much for this opportunity to refresh my memories about Getahun, and I wish you all the best, and thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much, Knotur. We really appreciate for your contribution. And I think we look forward to seeing you soon in Africa. So now I give the floor to Mr. Riccardo Balsotti from Italy, electroconsult. Over to you, Mr. Balsotti. Mr. Wendy Fresh, please. Atonda Fresh, can you please mute your, thank you very much. Do we have Mr. Balsotti with us? Okay, while he is just connecting, now I give the floor to Dr. Jack Varey, who is a good friend of Getahun since 1970. Let's hear from him about his tribute about Getahun. Welcome, Jack, and we really thank you for being with us for the last 2 weeks and sharing a lot of photographs with us. Thanks. Over to you, please.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Wright, for inviting me for this session. I was really sad to hear from you a few days ago that my friend Getahun did passed. And he has been a friend for 55 years. We first met in the year 68, 69, when he had just graduated from Addis Ababa University. And myself, I was a young assistant to Professor Black at the University of Addis Ababa. We were engaged in studying the Afar Depression with Professor Marinelli and Harun Taziev. And it is through Rasmengesha Seyum, who was governor of the Tigray province at that time, that Giorgio Marinelli raised the idea to develop geothermal in Ethiopia. And they convinced the Emperor Haile Selassie to put a request to the UN for a study of the potential of the rift. And this was finally funded by UNDP in the year 70-72. And Getahun was engaged on this project as a young geologist, while I was myself assistant professor at Addis Ababa University. And we started having a frequent exchange on the geology of the Ethiopian rift and of Afar. After Getahun graduated from Kyushu and Auckland University, he became head of the geothermal programs at the Geological Survey of Ethiopia. In fact, when I myself became head of geothermal department at the French Geological Survey, BHM. So we had a sort of parallel activity, each of us in our country, but also with very frequent exchange in Africa on the rift, because of course the potential of geothermal is so high there that we focused a lot on this area. Then Getahun became then general manager of the Geological Survey, when I myself became also manager of the Geological Survey in France. So we continued our exchange, and I must say that Getahun was a real friend, a man of great culture, with a very open mind to new ideas and interpretation, not only in the field of geosciences, but in any field of history, philosophy, politics, religion. Well, I'm unable to exhaustively count the number of occasions we had to exchange ideas at La Parisienne, you know, in Addis Ababa, or with a Dorowatt meal in some of those bunabiets in Ethiopia. So after he retired, he stayed professionally and intellectually very active, as it was mentioned, taking part to various think tanks and advisory position in Africa with African Union Commission, with the UN also. And when I was myself asked to advise on geothermal project, I was happy to have him also together with us on a project in Auvergne with Electer, or also with TMGO in Ethiopia. So I must say that his unique sense of culture, this open-minded African, always ready to embrace the diversity of the presented across the world, his comprehensive but innovative approach to geoscience issue, his immense contribution to geothermal development, his acute sense of public service and as a civil servant, whatever his position, his always friendly attitude, his optimism and a special sense of humor will forever stay in our memory. We grieve his passing on and will very dearly miss him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack. Indeed, we'll miss him a lot. He will be missed by all of us. Thank you, Jack, for always being there with us. So I think before I give the floor to my colleague Eob, I see that maybe Mr. Ricardo Balsotti is here with us. So I give the floor to him, Mr. Ricardo. Hello? Okay, so Knutur, now we can see you very well. Yeah, thank you very much. So Eob,
Okay,
maybe, yeah.
I'm a bit clumsy with advanced technology.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Knutur. Eob, over to you. We are now just concluding the global representatives. So I give you the floor now to you. Over to you, please.
Yeah. Okay, we'll now proceed with to hear from his friends and colleagues who share their memories. I'll start off with Professor Ghazan Yirgu of Addis Ababa University. Professor, please come online.
Hello?
We can hear you, Professor. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'm very happy really to talk about Togi Town. And I would like to also thank really the organizers of this event, which Togi Town deserves well. Okay, my words about Togi Town are very simple. I had 3 or 4 occasions really to know Togi Town. First, time goes back, and this is in the 1976 when I first graduated from Addis Ababa University in geology, and I joined the then Minister of Mines, Geological Survey, in which I became a junior geologist and worked there for 1 year. At that time, I heard about the geothermal department, and I remember that it was a dynamic department then. And I saw Togi Town was driving that department. Then later, I joined Addis Ababa University, and when I was an MSc student, it so happened that I was working in the geothermal area, mapping North Abaya geothermal site. And his good friend then, Mario Di Paola was there. So who was my advisor at the time, and they were very close friends. and Getahun came to join us at North Zabaya, and I first had a impression that Getahun was there and all the time inspiring people and staying there in a tent, reading the whole night. And that gave me really the first impression that Getahun was a different person, a very nice person indeed. And then as I was doing my PhD also, so happened I went to University of Pisa in Italy, and when I was doing my PhD dissertation or research work, it was on geothermal again, not geothermal research, but in the geothermal area. So I was working in the Afar, southern Afar area, and that time it was really a huge project. The Italian government was helping the country, and they were doing a lot of work all along the Afar Rift and the Ethiopian Rift. And I had the opportunity then also to see the dynamics of Ato Getahun. He was very helpful. He was all around, and that was an occasion in which also I admired the intelligence of Ato Getahun. But most of all, I had the opportunity to work together with Ato Getahun in an association, the Ethiopian Geoscience and Mineral Engineering Association, in which I was elected president, and Ato Getahun was a member of the executive committee. So we had the opportunity really to spend times together as committee members, as leaders of the association. And that was really the occasion when I really went deep into knowing Ato Getahun. I can say really with confidence that was really my best times with any person. Ato Getahun was, as everybody says now, was really selfless. We're meeting very frequently, not only to do the work of the association, but to meet Ato Getahun and discuss several things. So he was beyond the association, and he was the first person to come to the meeting. I say this really clearly, and he was the driving force behind the association, and we're really very successful in taking the association to higher heights. And he dedicated himself really very much. So that was really the moment. We were together for nearly 4 years or so, and we enjoyed, not only myself, but everybody. In fact, the office is still at Addis Ababa University College of Natural Sciences Geology Department. And not only members of the committee of the association were coming to discuss things wide and deep, but also others were joining us. So these were moments in which Ato Getahun really gave himself, discussed everything, as people were saying, as Jacques Paré was also saying. Jacques Paré was my professor in the early days at my university, and Getahun, of course, had a very kind friend, Jacques Paré, and so we were enjoying Getahun's presence really, because he was really unimaginable person. I mean, so wide, so deep in his knowledge, in his intellect. He can start discussing anything. Somebody was also saying, it can be economics, can be philosophy, or academic geology, geothermal, and he's leading every aspect of the discussion, every aspect of of the issue, and he was really amazing. So I found Getahun really to be a special person, intellectual. Perhaps many of us or some of us have gone into the academics, perhaps some of us have also been professors, others, So Getahun didn't have a PhD, but he was more than a PhD. He was more than a professor. In his profound knowledge, in his immense knowledge, immense intellect, that I can say really confidently. So I realized that Getahun was not only an intellectual, but also a special human because he was selfless. He was giving himself, not only himself, but not only his time, but even his resources. And I really admire that spectacular personality. Of course, he has mentored many young people, and he believed in the young. He believed in people. He believed that people can make changes if they have the right education, if they have the right exposure. So that's one thing that I really admire in him. Of course, his leadership qualities are well proved, and I have not seen any person in this area of study in earth sciences and geology in which almost all people agree. They can reach consensus that Getahun was really a nice person. He was an open person. He was full of intellect. He was so positive. And it's a bit too late that we are now talking about Getahun. It would have been much better if he was alive and we talked about him while he was alive. Now, in his memory, I suggest really, and I've been suggesting this, it can be the African Geothermal Association or any other association, that we build something in his memory, something that can pass to generations. So with all the admirations I have for Getahun, I really wish that he's remembered, not only for now, but also for the coming generation. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Professor. Those were nice, kind words, which we will all keep in mind. With that said, Wezero Misrak, his younger sister, is online. Please join us and come online, Wezero Misrak. And we'll continue with the family and friends, with friends and colleagues later. Let's hear from Wezero Misrak, and we will hear from Ato Dagmawi as well. Please come on board.
You are muted.
Sorry about that. So I think Wezero Misrak is still having connectivity issues. So to proceed and follow our timelines, let's please have Ato Tarek Ain Tadessa come online. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Well, to be honest, my life since my early professional career has been shaped by Getahun, and it's been really an honor to witness that and to celebrate his achievements together. Although he passed away, he will be remaining in our hearts forever. We call Getahun Gashi Getahun. Gashi Getahun. I think most Ethiopians call him Gashi Getahun. Very little call him Ato Getahun or Mr. Getahun. We call him Gashi as his title expresses closeness, elderly brotherhood, leader, and mentorship in Ethiopia. And Gashi Getahun was everything of this figure for me as a person. And I'm sure for geoscience community and those who know him and his life principle, hence deservedly Gashi. It's a special title in Ethiopia. And We always will call him Gashi until we pass and join him somewhere. He was a man of principle, and I have a lot of encounters that I cannot describe each one of it, but just closely witness what he has done in my life and juniors who actually pass through his mentorship, leadership, and coaching. He was a man of principle with extraordinary integrity. I'm sure everybody will share this with us. In professional convictions, extraordinary talent, awesome and humble personality that made him admirable and friend to young and old within the country as well as in the continent and across the world. Getahun was a figure with distinct and unfailing legacy that really is at the beginning of everything, nearly like cornerstone in the establishment of Geoscience Institution in Ethiopia, educating and inspiring the professionals with truly deep-rooted love for his country, Ethiopia. Many Ethiopians who knew him, worked with him, led by him, or even talked to him over coffee, we are all greatly influenced by Getahun'S principle of living for purpose. He was a uniquely strong person, to be honest, and a positive thinker, even in conditions prevailingly drive many for hopelessness and despair. He was such a selfless person, proud geoscientist. He always says, how could I have done this without being geoscientist? And he's always been proud and makes us feel proud. As an educator, and then stop learner as well. He lived non-regrettable life, professional life, till his last breath. I remember the moment the time he passed away, he just finished a project writing up. And my very young professional career, he purposefully, I say, because he thought he could change my life, my future life. He taught me from his experience and readings, advised me. He said, Tarakan, keep it clean and keep it smart, and you will be living a durable life. And inspired me how to live a rewarding life. If anything good happened in my life, my educational and professional life, and any countable achievements I've had so far, it's because of Getahun directed me to take the correct path. I mean it. If anything I did wrong, it's just because of my mistake. Getahun's pursuit of life and his living principles always remind me of the most powerful and inspirational words in the inaugural speech of American President John F. Kennedy. I'm sure every one of you will remember this. Do not ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. If anybody lived and gave as much as one can humanly give to his country without asking even his basic needs, let's have to get on. Get on. And this is so in this 21st century, where material and financial benefits outweigh professional achievement and moral high ground. His life principles and philosophy has been contagious, and he will always be remembered and live in our heart. It has been a privilege indeed to have been coached and mentored by such all-rounded giant. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ato Tarakan. Thank you very much. We will now give the floor to Mark from New York, who's Wezero Misrak's Demse's son and the nephew of Gash Getahun. Mark, please come online.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Mark. I am Getahun'S nephew, Misrak's son, joining from New York. It's been a while since I spoke to Getahun'. I think I last spoke to him a bit before COVID started, and it had been even longer since I'd actually seen him face to face and we got to spend time together. But when I was a kid, I got to spend a good amount of time with him and all of my mom's brothers. And Getahun' always was just such a caring person, and he always left such an impression on me. He was really, really smart too. Like he's incredibly intelligent. And I would always hang on all of his words whenever he was talking. Part of it is I was just a little kid. I was like, in elementary school or as a teenager. But he just came across always as just so principled and I think it's an overused term, but he really felt like he was very wise. And I always just looked up to him so much as being this really caring, smart, worldly, just happy person who seemed to care so much about me. And I didn't get to interact with him as nearly as much as I would like to, but every single time I saw him, it just left such a big impression on me because of this kind of principled wisdom that he brought to things. And he always just had great life advice. And I just wish I'd written some of it down and remembered more of it. So yeah, he made a big impact, even though I didn't get to see him as much as some of you other folks did.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a great loss, both for the family, his colleagues, friends, and all of us. We miss him dearly. So we'll proceed. I don't know whether
excuse
Ms.
me,
is online.
No, she's online. She's online. Please give Thank you very much, Io.
Okay. Whether Ms. please come online. Could you please have your lines muted? And let's welcome Wazir Misra.
Okay, Io, please proceed with Dr. Brahanu, and let me find out where she is.
You cannot hear me also?
No.
Yeah, we can hear you barely. Please get closer to the mic and please proceed.
Ryan, she's unmuted from her side. Please proceed, Wazir Misrak. We can barely hear you, but please proceed.
What's her name? She's logged in as who? Mesret?
Yeah.
She's
Misrak or
logged in as
Dagmawi? I think Dagmawi. Ryan?
trying to see her name.
I think she must have some problems, but they say that they managed to. Are you able now to connect? We can hardly hear you. We can't hear you. You are connected as who? No.
Shiberu. We can hear her now. Is she
You can hear
Shiberu?
her? Dagmawi, can you try it, please, from your end?
Can you press D Shiperu?
Yeah, she's connected as D Shiperu.
Yeah. So
They
she
are
can
together.
continue. We can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ish can put her. She can continue. I think I've seen her and I've unmuted her.
Okay. So they have to be unmuted from their end?
No, she's unmuted. So she can continue.
Wazir Misrak, please continue. Hello?
It's not coming in.
Yeah. Okay. So let's continue with Dr. Brahanu for the sake of time, and then I think we can. Yeah, please proceed, Eob. Let me just talk to her from my end.
Dr. Brahanu, please come online.
Okay. Eob, Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Please
thank
proceed.
you, dear colleagues here in Ethiopia, in Africa, and the rest of the world. Thank you for paying tribute to our dear brother Gash Getahun. Thank you, Dr. Tarakay, for eloquently explaining why we use the adjective Gashe to Getahun. It is a sign of respect and sincerity to an elder brother. So I will keep on using that term all the way through. I would like to briefly say a bit on how I came to know Gash Getahun, and of course later talk a bit about his outstanding contributions that I know. I happened to know Gash Getahun when I was an undergraduate student. He envisaged a collaboration work with the Addis Ababa University on geochemical and geophysical survey of the Addis Ababa hydrothermal area locally known as Fuluha. At that time, he was a geothermal project manager. I happened to be one of the 2 lucky students who were picked to undertake the geochemical survey as partial fulfillment of my undergraduate study. He guided us in the field and during the interpretation work in his spare times, during which we started learning the basics and ethics of practical professional work. That turns out to be a kick-off to our professional career that we loved and flourished all the way through. Since that time, I have seen his vision, commitment, selflessness, persuasion power, and superior communication skills. Personally, he was a simple and kind one with great integrity. When it comes to mentioning some of his accomplishments, in his only 23 years service under the mining energy sector, he has been exemplary as a geologist, director, and minister. As a far-sighted professional and bright leader, he was deeply engaged in mandatory human resources and institutional capacity building. This helped him to execute over 23 mega projects simultaneously as a general manager of the then Ethiopian Institute of Geological Surveys. The outcomes of this have served to promote and attract investment in various sectors in the country, even at the moment. Robert Louis Stevenson said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Similarly, allow me to explain a bit further on just one of the projects of which he spent half of his career period while at the mining energy sector, that is geothermal. Gash Getahun was aware early that Ethiopia is endowed with abundant geothermal resources along with his colleagues and partners in a way that could flourish with time. Slowly but surely, we have started reaping. The binary power plant was there over 2 decades, and the field is being upgraded to commission a 35 megawatts soon. This will give a big boost to tap the country's estimated over 5,000 megawatt electrical power potential. Therefore, the country will benefit from his vision for years to come. As organizers of the webinar rightly pick what Robert Louis said, a beautiful soul is never forgotten, just remembered with great love. Those who touch our lives stay in our hearts forever. Gash Getahun's soul is so beautiful and hence unforgettable, because He touched our lives and resources in a manner to cherish and flourish in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Branu. Those were really nice words and really express the wisdom and the selflessness of Gash Getahun. With that, let me move on to invite Solomon Kabede, another colleague of ours. Please come online, Solomon.
Okay, thank you. Just to say a few words about Gash Getahun. Well, I knew Gash Getahun since early 1980s. At that time, he was general manager of a geothermal project where me and my colleagues joined as geologists. So even at that time, I have witnessed that he was so devoted to the science, and he often even left his managerial duties and coached us on the field about every aspect of geoscientific investigations. Therefore, his devotion to geothermal development and geoscience as a whole, as others indicated, has a long history. The other thing what I would like to mention is about one of his peculiar characteristics of Gash Getahun. Gash Getahun loves to work, but he never asked for benefits, and instead he had been fighting for the benefit of others. A typical example I would like to mention in this regard is that he had paved the way and made possible for over 300 employees of the Geological Survey. He allowed them, he created the fertile condition for each of them construct their houses, living houses in Addis Ababa. So by doing so, he has considerably changed the lives of these people. So his contribution is not only on science, but in other issues like changing the lives of the other people. Well, his contribution to the founding of the first geothermal association in Ethiopia had been also immense. Therefore, me and all the people I am representing wish eternal peace to his soul and pass over condolences to his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon. Masarat, please proceed with introducing the regional representatives that are programmed to speak.
Thank you very much, Eob, and also the former speakers, friends, colleagues from Ethiopia. I really appreciate that. Now we go to regional representatives, but I'm really honored to introduce Mr. Philip Nyongabo, who was the former head of Energy Division in the African Union Commission Infrastructure and Energy Department. Philip really was actually been working with Getahun, and he knows him, and he wanted to say a few words about that. Philip, over to you. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mesret, and hello, everyone. And first of all, thank you to Mesret and to the whole team who invited me to speak at this sad occasion. I was informed by Mesret about the death of our friend Getahun, and I was very, very sad because, first of all, on personal basis, he was a good friend of mine because of his kindness, but also he helped me when I was the head of energy division at the African Union, as Mesret introduced. And he was also a very good person as a person, besides his knowledge, as it has been said by the previous speakers. Getahun also, I have to thank him for his assistance to set up at the African Union our geothermal regional program, and with the assistance also of Dr. Mesret. I remember Getahun coming to my office so quite often. Anytime I needed him, he was always there. I remember traveling with him to Eastern Congo, to Djibouti, to Kenya. I mean, in so many countries we were covering within the geothermal program. So for me, I lost a friend. I lost a nice person, as it is the case for all of you. But also for Africa, we lost a very experienced and a very hardworking person. So I would like to address to his family and friends and the relatives my deepest condolences. I think he will be alive in our minds, and also his legacy. He left a lot of things to our region, to the African continent, and we are proud of what he did and his legacy. And I think the best way to recognize what he did is also to keep alive his legacy and also try to walk in the spirit of what he has shown as a person, as an expert, and as a friend. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Philip, and we really thank you for joining us. He's joining us from Canada, and really we appreciate that, Philip. As you have said, Getahun, he left a lot of legacies in African Union, where he managed also to bring geothermal in the head of energy division and in the department, where we are now really seeing the fruit of all the risk mitigation facility and others. Thank you, Philip, for being there also with us. Okay, now I give the floor. I'm not sure whether Professor Mohammed is there because he is in the Ramadan. And let me know if you are around, Prof. Yes, you are there. Thank you very much.
No, it's right. He sent me his sort of like a poem to read it out for him.
Okay.
I think
Could you please read it out on his behalf, Brian? Go ahead. Thank you.
It's a poem, so I guess
Wonderful.
to do it justice, let me just try and.
Thank you. Professor Mohammed is a professor in in Nigeria, and who is closely working with us as a member of RGO and also a active member of the African Geothermal Association. So over to you, Ryan.
Yep. So here it goes. So the poem is titled "The Great Book is Still Open." Your demise is like a great book closed. Some thought that the great book is closed. The ink has dried up and the author has ceased. I find it difficult to believe this kind of thought. How can this thermal spring cease when it is still gushing? How can the ink be dry when our memories keep it wet? How inconceivable that author has ceased when he is alive in our hearts and thoughts. With his geothermal wand lightening the continent, his unique passion for the powers of geology, His enduring legacy is unparalleled in our time. His helping spirit touching many lives. Getahun, or I can say Gash Getahun, will forever remain alive in our hearts. Africa will never forget him or what he means to us. Africa will always remember how wonderful he was. His dream of powering Africa will come to pass. So the book is not closed. Indeed, a new chapter is open, and the ink is still writing what we missed about him. Prof. Gash Getahun will never be gone from our minds. Mohammed Yerima Choir from Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Our Gash Getahun is like contagious, even not only Ethiopians, even our colleagues from Africa, they call him Gash Getahun. It's not only us, my dear colleague and brother and friend, Dr. Taregan. It is all over Africa. They don't want to tell him Mr. Professor, any other thing. They express the love, Gash Getahun. Thank you very much. So now I give the floor. I go to, we are trying to see from different parts of the geographical location of Africa. Our geothermal is not only limited to East African rift system, but we are really thinking of having the whole Africa using the heat of the earth as a resource to our continent. So that is what even Getahun showed us. So now I call upon my good friend and brother, now Prof. Bisrat Bas, whom I met him after a long time now, where I'm based in South Africa, Pretoria. Bisrat, over to you.
Thank you, Maseret, and thank you for the committee for organizing this memorial service for our mentor and dear leader in the geothermal field and at large in the earth sciences of Africa. I think it is very sad moment on the one hand, but it is also it's a good time to remember our mentor, Gash Getahun. Although I left Ethiopia a bit earlier than most of my colleagues, I am also a product of the legacy of Gash Getahun. Firstly, as a geologist, as a junior geologist in the Geological Survey, I'm one of the beneficiaries of Gash Getahun's visionary leader as when he was the general manager of the Ethiopian Institute of Geological Survey. As many of us remember, Dr. Tarek and many others, we were the product of the training for mineral exploration project, which was funded by UNDP. And this project produced over probably 60 or 70 MSc graduates in a very short span of time, maybe around 8 years, sorry. And these many graduates were able to graduate and return to the Geological Survey of Ethiopia because of the vision that Gash Getahun has for the geological survey and for the geological sciences development in Ethiopia. So those many graduates were able to graduate because of his vision. And as you know, most of us have even pursued our studies to further our degrees into a PhD level, and many are now very prominent geoscientists in Ethiopia in East Africa, in Africa, and even in the world. So that is the legacy of Gash Getahun. Gash Getahun's knowledge and depth of understanding is not only limited to the earth sciences. I remember colleagues in accounting and in economics or in management were always impressed by his overall knowledge and understanding of the application of the different disciplines to further the development of geological sciences in Ethiopia. Even the geothermal legacy that we had and then the imprint that he had on us made us to be involved and actively pursue geothermal related fields, even in Southern Africa and in the rest of Africa. So Gash Getahun's impact on the earth science of Africa and specifically on the geothermal fields is recognized everywhere, including in Southern Africa. So I just want to conclude my short appreciation of Gash Getahun's by just reminding us that this memorial service should not be the last time that we are going to talk about Gash Getahun, and I really believe that his versatile and all-rounded knowledge and contribution to the earth sciences and to the geothermal of Africa and the globe would be continued to remember in different ways, and we should continue to identify ways and means to continue to remember Gash Getahun's legacy. And thank you so much for giving me this privilege to say a few words about Gash Getahun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Bisrat is representing the SADC countries, the Southern Africa. You have seen the Western Africa, Professor Mohammed and others. So I'm just still, in contact with Wezaro Misrak and Dagmawi. They are still, I can see that the DS. Let's try our chance now if they are able to do that. If not, I think we'll continue. But the good thing is they can listen to all these interventions while they are there. Dagmawi or Wezaro Misrak, can you try? Hello? Can you try? We can see you there. Dagmawi, can you talk? Okay, I think there must be some technical problems. It's not only network.
I think she can leave and come in. Then when she joins with the audio. But yeah, she can leave and come in. I think we try all means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan, for doing that. And thank you, Wezaro Misrak. The good thing is you are listening, and it's unfortunate that we can't hear from you, but we'll get it in the condolence book and we share the recording with you. So then now we go to representatives of the ARJO member countries. We go to Tanzania, Engineer Boniface, who is representing Tanzania, the former director of the Tanzanian Geothermal Development Company. Engineer Boniface, over to you. You are muted, engineer. You are muted, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mesret. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I find it a huge privilege to be part of this memorial service this evening. We, the Tanzania Geothermal family, join his family, Africa, as well as the international geothermal community to remember and celebrate his life. We also mourn the passing on of his high-ranking geothermal expert, a motivator, a mentor, a great friend, Demis Getahun. For the part of Tanzania, Getahun had actively participated in shaping Tanzania's geothermal development almost 20 years ago. A soft-spoken and a wonderful person indeed, he is particularly remembered for his contribution in the following areas: his critical review of our technical works and providing valuable professional insights that enable Tanzania's geothermal energy, a real dream. He also unconditionally digested, but also resolved the complex scientific issues that needed broad and deep understanding of the East African rifting process. Indeed, he was an important resource to the Tanzanian geothermal family, sharing knowledge and experience that has been inspirational to all of us, but most importantly to the young professionals, whom we do encourage to continuously keep Getahun'S memory and legacy alive. Just to mention a few, I personally felt very privileged working with Getahun. We will really miss him. Our heartfelt condolences to his family, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Engineer Boniface. Now, I think I ask Ryan to play the short video of Uwera Rutagarama, our sister. She's not able to make it because she lost her uncle, but at this time, and she wanted to really ask to share the video. Over to you, Ryan.
Today, the Rwanda geothermal community would like to express our sincere condolences to
We can hardly hear her. Can you?
We are mourning one of the best.
Okay, I'll share again.
Okay.
Today, the Rwanda geothermal community would like to express our sincere condolences to Getahun'S family. We are mourning one of the best geoscientists in the continent and in the world. Personally, I was honored to meet Getahun, and I will never forget his passion for his work and specifically for the East African Rift Valley. I learned so much from Getahun. Getahun, life took you when we still needed you. Thank you for the great legacy you left to the next generation. Rest in peace, dear Getahun. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uwera. I think most of you know Uwera Rutagarama. She was been working with the Getahun when she was the head of the geothermal project in Rwanda, and also now working with the Energy Development Company. So now I think the team of our colleagues from Eritrea, they are not able to make it. They are very, very much really saddened by the loss of their brother. And also, I think you know that Getahun have been working in Eritrea even after he finished his service in the geological survey, not only as a geothermal scientist, but in the exploration of minerals and other natural resources. So they just send their condolences to the family and to the whole geothermal community in the world. I think they are Alem Kbrab, Ermias Johannes, and Seifa Michael Berhe. There are three of them. They just sent their really, condolences to the whole family and to the community. Having said this, I think we will go to the different organizations. First, we will start with the Kenyan Electricity Generating Company. We have Mr. Cyrus Karingiti. Cyrus, over to you.
Thank you, Meseret. On behalf of KenGen and the Kenya geothermal community, we sincerely send our condolences to the family and friends. And I can tell you for free that Getahun was very close to us, more than other people may ever know. We worked with him on very many projects in the background, and we are glad that he shared his knowledge and passion, and will continue to promote his legacy so that his life and his soul lives on. We give our sincere condolences to the family and friends. Thank you very much. And on behalf of Kengen and all the rest of the team, we say our sincere condolences to the family and friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Cyrus. Thanks for your time and joining us in this memorial service. Now I give the floor to Mr. Matthew Mwangomba, who is the current Director General of the Tanzanian Geothermal Development Company. And we thank TGDC for being there with us in this all preparations, sharing with us good photos, and all being there with us, the whole team as a whole, just for this memorial service. Matthew, over to you.
Thank you very much, dear colleague. On behalf of the Tanzania Geothermal Development Company Limited, as we know, we're here gathered. We are gathered here today in a memory of our dear colleague Getahun. When we heard that he was no more, we are shocked, and suddenly death has taken away a genuine warm individual, more important, a loving husband and a father, and deprived so many others, including us, good friend and African geothermal guru, Getahun. As we know, life can be fleeting, but a life lived to the fullest days stays in the fond memories. Getahun, through his decorum and the grace, endears himself to many. This particularly difficult and painful time for his family, in extending to them our heartfelt condolences, we wish them the courage and the strength to bear this irreparable loss of our beloved Getahun. Sincerely, this is Getahun's contribution uplifted geothermal development in Tanzania through TGDC. I know Getahun since 2015, when I was so young in the geothermal industry. We met in the beginning. So Getahun was talented and a gifted person. He was an exceptionally good writer. He was just telling me how to write. Even our people in geothermal, Getahun was narrator. Getahun was a good speaker, especially in the technical and other international gatherings. We remember we had a technical review meeting in Tanzania. So Getahun was one of the good trainer, one of the good advisor. Getahun was a mentor to geothermal. I remember by the time geothermal was a very young company. Geothermal has been established, TGDC has been established in 2014. So we met Getahun in 2015. So the company was very young, but Getahun, he was a very good trainer to us. He was a very nice advisor. He was a mentor to everybody in Tanzania Geothermal Development Company Limited. Also, it was a motivator to Tanzania Geothermal Development Company Limited. So Getahun, I can say, is a high-level expert living simple life. So his determination to carry out despite trying personal circumstance. Demonstration is a commitment to duties and responsibility. In his own quiet and calm manner, he demonstrated how to work through challenging times and care everyone on board. So on behalf of TGDC, our deepest condolences to Getahun families, to the geothermal community. He was an extraordinary man, and his loss will be felt by many. So on behalf of TGC, thank you very much. And we can say rest in peace, Getahun'. We remember in our heart geothermal community, Tanzania geothermal. We cannot mention Tanzania geothermal without mentioning Getahun'. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Matthew, for these all kind words. Now I give the floor to the representative of the Geothermal Association of Kenya, Stephen Onacha. Dr. Stephen, kindly go ahead. Are you around? Do we have Stephen Onacha with us? Okay, while he's just connecting, I
Dr.
give.
Meseret?
Yes, please, Stephen, over to you.
I'm sorry, in a place where the network's not very good, so I might not switch on the video. I'm going to be brief on behalf of the Geothermal Association of Kenya. Personally, I would like to say the first time I remember Getahun' was the forerunner of ACGEO, a meeting where we held at UNEP, where we are trying to look at issues on how to form an association or an instrument pool for Africa, and the solutions he brought out silently and focused. He gave us a solution on how to distribute where the centers of excellence should be within the East African region. I met a person who was willing to get solutions. So how do we remember him as a person? First, I must say, when you met Getahun' as a person, you saw somebody who was the epitome of decency as a profession. He was focused, he was intellectual, and could stimulate intellectual discussions. You first saw a person who was diligent and determined, and I must say, proudly African, and ready to share his ideas for us to move forward as an African community to use our resources and also interlink with the national community to make sure that we achieved our goals. So as a profession and a mentor, Getahun' was an inspiration for some of the consultants, people who have been working in the consultants, me included. As the African geothermal community, consulting work was not there's some noise in the background, I'm sorry. I was saying that as a professional and mentor, he was an inspiration for many of us who started maybe to look at how we could earn a living from consulting. He was organized and ready to just share. So we must say he was a pillar of the Africa beginning of the geothermal expertise, and we must be very proud of him. In terms of the associations like the African Geothermal, the Geothermal Association of Kenya, we are proud that we could have people we could call upon to deliberate and give us a focus on what we need to do as the local geothermal associations. In terms of the institutions that have come out of the geothermal, having learned of how proudly we have the first geothermal geothermal plant in Ethiopia, the rest of us were ready to learn and focus on institutions that are lasting to give African solutions to the African problem.
Thank you.
So for us, we are focused on seeing how he was keen to develop local content and capacity. And we must then, those who are left behind, try to push on his legacy of trying to develop the African content and the capacity for geothermal development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this kind word, Stephen, representing the Geothermal Association of Kenya. Now I give the floor to Mr. Hunde Malcolm, representing the Geological Survey of Ethiopia, has been there and as a former chief geologist. Please, over to you, Hunde.
Thank you, Dr. Masarat. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this important occasion organized in memory of the late Getahun'S. I'd also like to appreciate the Geothermal Association of Africa, the Geothermal Association of Ethiopia, and the African Rift Geothermal Facility for organizing the event. Mr. Getahun'S, Gash Getahun, as most of us used to call him, which means an elder brother, was a profound geologist and a true leader. He had worked day and night to bring forward the geoscience knowledge, skill, and practice in Ethiopia, more specifically in the then Ethiopian Institute of Geological Survey and the Ministry of Mines and Energy. The Ethiopian Institute of Geological Surveys was one of the few well-known and dynamic geological surveys in the sub-Saharan Africa in 1980s and 1990s, which was the result of Gash Getahun's effort. Among the many achievements came as a result of his remarkable efforts. I would like to recall few of them. As mentioned by Professor Besrat Ibaz, he had initiated a training for mineral exploration project, a 10-year project, on-job training project, supported by UNDP. The project has crafted junior geologists in the sector to be real and practical geologists. More than 80 junior geologists had got the opportunity to hold MSc and more than 20 PhD. I was among one of the beneficiaries of this project. Secondly, prior to the 1980s, most of the exploration works were limited to surface exploration, except geophysics. Gash Getahun, noting the issue, has designed a short-term training program in drilling, and high school graduates were recruited and trained in drilling. At the same time, he has played a major role to capacitate EIGS in owning drilling instruments such as drilling rigs, trucks, earth-moving machines, which was a multi-million investment from government treasury. As a result, a well-equipped drilling department was established to support the subsurface mineral exploration. Thirdly, Gash Getahun's contribution in the building of the head office of the Ethiopian Institute of Geological Survey was immense, even though it was recently transferred to another institution. He was just like his baby. He was supervising and following up the construction project day and night. Fourthly, Solomon has mentioned he has a magnificent contribution in supporting the employees of Geological Survey of Ethiopia and the Ministry of Mines and Energy to own plots of land to build residential house of their own. And he has also supported those employees during the construction work in various ways. Saying this, I'm grateful to those colleagues from Ethiopia and abroad who have prayed for his recovery and extended their support in various ways. More than 150 people have joined a Telegram platform created to reach him. I would like to extend my heartfelt condolences to his family, relatives, friends, and the geoscientific community on the loss of Gash Getahun, our great leader, mentor, and friend. Lastly, may the Almighty God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ato Hunde. And this is really a very good wrap up for this for the Getahun'S work in the geological survey and other fields. Actually, I'm still trying to really see. I know that Wezaro Misrak and Dagmawi, they are listening to us, but they have actually, unfortunately, they're not able to speak. I'm trying to really connect to them by phone, and if they are able actually to talk to us. Wezaro Misrak? Yeah, can you please talk and they can hear you, and you can say a few words with the phone. Please go ahead, Wezaro Misrak.
Misrak, the youngest sister of Getahun, whom I call Getty.
Excuse me, Dagmawi, mute it from yourself. Mute it. Yeah, please go ahead, Wezaro Misrak, please.
Getty has been responsible for my
Nasrat, we're listening from your side.
log.
Can you hear her?
And can you hear me all?
Can you hear Miss Wezaro Misrak, please, Ren?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. Just keep your mic on.
No, they are hearing
hear
you,
you.
please. They hear you, Wezaro Misrak. Kindly proceed.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, as I have been saying, I call him Getty because he's so very special to me. And when I heard that he has been taken ill, so I thought I rushed here to take care of him. But unfortunately, I was too late. And there is so much I could say about Getahun. Very special, very caring and loving brother who taught me how to take care of myself by giving me pocket money at the early stage. So all what I am now is a result of what Getahun has put in me. And I'm very grateful. And thank you all for all what you did and what you are going to do. I hope we keep his spirit alive. And thank you so much. I'll pass this to Dagi now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wezaro Misrak. You did your best. We are really honored having you here with us, and you call him Getty. And Wezaro Misrak, thank you very much. And our sincere condolences and to you, your loved ones. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes.
Even though he passed away, he gave me many brothers and a sister like you.
Yes, yes.
And I call one of them, like a Getahun called him, one of the men. I call him Mondam. And all the others, brothers. Thank you all for being here. I will miss him dearly, but there is nothing I can do. May his soul rest in peace. His beautiful, precious soul, my selfless brother, my dear friend, my father, my everything, may he rest in peace. Goodbye, and sorry for being so emotional. Good night.
No worries. Yeah, thank you very much. Please, Dagmawi, over to you. Thank you very much, Wezaro Misrak.
Okay, this is Dagmawi Suburu. My father was a cousin of Getahun. They're very, very close. So I got to know Getahun growing up, and especially over the last 20 years, I think we've met and talked many, many times. I've heard all the stories. And just want to say a couple of things regarding Getahun. Number one, regarding his humanity. My father had a long illness 20 years ago and died after 5 years of this illness. During that time, the number one visitor, consistent visitor, he came to visit him, take him out on trips, swim his spirits. That's what Gash Getahun. Of everybody who was his friends, his relatives, Gash Getahun was the top visitor. And so I think that illustrates his caring character. Second point is on books. I love books. Gash Getahun loves books. So we bonded on that together. In fact, we were talking just recently over the past year of opening a bookstore together. That didn't happen, but we'll do something in that line, in that vein of activity. And I just want to mention that I've never met anyone in my life who had such a passion that I connected with, like Gash Getahun, in terms of books, all kinds of books, geology books, history, politics, anything. And so we spent so many times. I'm glad I had that time with him. I moved back to Ethiopia in the last 3 years, and so we spent a lot of time, many Saturdays, many Sundays, talking and discussing, and I was great in this. Thank you all. I listened to the presentations and talks, and it was a great comfort to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dagmawi, Wezaro Misrak. It's really an honor and a privilege having you here with us. You stay with us, and actually, Getahun, nobody will forget him. He cannot be forgotten because he has a lot of legacy that he has left. Thank you very much, and for being here with us. Thank you. Now, colleagues, we will go to the next item now, and I call upon the main organizer of this event, the representative of the African Geothermal Association. This is an association actually which is established, I think, long time ago, but it was not legalized, which is legalized, I think, a few months ago. So we have an announcement, and I call upon Dr. Peter Omenda just to announce this. And I request Ryan to share the presentation. Dr. Omenda, you are here with us.
Yes, thank you very much. As we wait for, we'd like to announce that the African Geothermal Association is keen or setting up Getahun the Mise Memorial Fellowship, which will be a leadership development program for young Africans in geothermal resources. We intend to start the first phase of this program at our next AGIO conference in Tanzania. We call upon all geothermal supporters across the world and in Africa in particular to support this initiative so that we immortalize Getahun in this fellowship program that will be perpetually held every 2 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think that is our responsibility to do this. We should not Getahun's name not to be referred, not to be called in the geothermal arena. We should work very, very hard together to make this memorial fellowship alive. That is actually a vision for young Africans. That was his vision, and with the help of God, we will make it happen. We have to join our forces from wherever we are. We are responsible. The team in Ethiopia, the team in Africa, the team everywhere, wherever you are. If we really love our dear Getahun, Gash Getahun, we have to really make it alive. And this memorial fellowship will be connected to the biennial African Rift Geothermal Conference, where the UNEP ARGO program is going to hand over all its activities and regional actually networking to the Africa Geothermal Association during the 10th African Rift Geothermal Conference, which will be held in November 2024. His first memorial fellowship will start at that time, where we will be setting up a very good criteria to select promising and young Africans to develop their capacity and skill and leadership of actually the geothermal resources. Thank you very much. And now we go to, could you please kindly mute, please participants, kindly mute.
Thank you, Ms. Annette. Thank you.
Kindly mute. Who is this, please? Yeah, thank you very much. Now we have to go to a vote of thanks, actually, to the program where we are going to conclude. Actually, Ran, could you please display just to thank colleagues? Hello? Wezaro Misrak and Dagmawi, I think from family, we are just thanking all of you. And here are all the organizers who have been here working here and there, who have contributed a lot. Those of you who have been from the Ethiopian team in Addis Ababa, Mr. Wendemageng, Ato Wendemageng, and the team, many thanks really for sharing the information with us, for being here with us and joining and celebrating the memory of our dear brother, mentor, coach, and a senior colleague to celebrate his life. Thanking you all. We look forward to working with you and to make really this memorial fellowship happen. That is where we make Getahun alive. Thank you very much. And I think now we have really closed the this memorial service, and we want really to work very closely with the whole team to make the legacy of our dear brother Getahun alive. Thank you very much. I think we are actually 8 minutes ahead, I think late, but we really thank you for joining us, for being here with us, and we look forward to working with you and to remembering again and again our hero Getahun, actually a Demise. And kindly put on all your cameras if possible. Just now we will have a screenshot and we will share with all of you the recording with all of you, and kindly just use the condolence book, what we have, and you write it. We are going to put it together and give it actually to the family, and we'll keep it also for us. We cannot forget Getahun. We cannot forget you. Whoever knows you, never. Your legacy is there. We celebrate him. We will celebrate again and again by giving this fellowship to young Africans. Thank you very much. And thank you to all. Thank you. Thanks, team.
There's a land that is fairer than day, and by faith we can see it afar, for the Father waits over the way to prepare us a dwelling place there, in the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore, in the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall sing on that beautiful not a sigh for the blessing of rest in the sweet by and by. We shall meet on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. We shall meet on that beautiful shore. To our bountiful Father above, we will offer a tribute of praise for the glorious gift of His love and the blessings that hallow days in the sweet by and by. We shall meet on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. We shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you so much for the great
Thanks
work.
to all of you who have contributed in one way or the other. Thanks a lot. Thank you for being with us for the last couple of hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Bye-bye.
Mesra.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Mesra.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, for
Bye-bye.
meeting
Thank you.
all old friends here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Dr. Masad,
Yes,
for
Atomulla,
organizing
Birish,
this
Tarek, and all
memorial
of you
event.
now. Oh, yes. Thank you all. I can see.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks a lot for all the hard work. I really thank Ryan and Timothy, my team. They are really dynamic who made all possible. The video, organization, tribute, obituary, and EOB for writing that really obituary. That's really, really good. All of you, Atomulla, and all of you, thank you very much. Friends, colleagues, all friends.
Thank you,
Geological Survey, yes, yeah. Thanks a lot. I have no words. We thank God for all this Evans for bringing us here all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, team. Happy Melkam Fasika ለሁላችሁም. Happy Easter to all Christians.
ለሁላችንም
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
Take
Messi.
care.
Salam.
እሺ ሰላም ሁኑ። መልካም ጊዜ ደግሞ ለሚቀጥለው ሚሞሪያል ሰርቪስ ኢትዮጵያ በሐሳባችን ከእናንተ ጋር በሐሳባችን ከእናንተ ጋር ነን። የምንረዳውን ነገር ንገሩን። ደህና ሁኑልን። Thank you so much. Thanks. Wisdom. Yeah. How are you? Yeah, ደህና ሁኑልን. Yeah, I think the team, can you remain behind? Yeah. I really want to thank, yeah. Now you can sleep, Ryan. Yeah, Matthew, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you very much, and have a good
Great
night.
job. You did a great job. Thank you. Yeah. Eob.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Saladin. Oh, Saladin.